ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment.
So with Gotham Knight coming out in a few weeks, I decided to go check out some gameplays on YouTube. And lo and behold, only the Shields got to play the game early. And I watched it. I watched a few gameplays. I didn't just watch one. I watched a Robin one. I watched somebody play as Batgirl. I watched somebody play as Red Hood. I watched somebody play as Nightwing. And from what I'm seeing, the combat, ladies and gentlemen, the combat is painfully bad. It is boring. It doesn't flow. It is super sluggish. And one thing I noticed with the combat is you gotta roll out of the enemy's way, so you can't counter them anymore like you did in the Arkham games. You had to roll out of the way. You can't, you know, it's no flow to it, because once the enemies hit you, you gotta get out of your flow of beating that. Remember in the Arkham series, when you're beating up somebody come behind you, just, you know, press the counter button, that guy's still getting knocked out, you know, still dazed, and then you beat up the other guy, and then you jump back to the other enemy, and you finish him off, and then you jump back to him, you finish him off. That was something that allowed you to flow, and it give you a, you know, it was a little bit of, it was kind of skillful. You had to be pretty skilled to keep the combo going. And in this game, it doesn't seem that way. You just roll out of the way, you shoot, because the guy I was mostly watching was playing as Red Hood. But you roll out of the way, you shoot. If you were Robin, you roll out of the way and you cartwheel out of the way and you hit with the stick. You know, same thing. There's no, you know, every character plays the same in some way. Not that they are exactly the same, but in that instant they all play the same. And the thing with that is, it looks pretty boring, like I said, and I know people don't want to compare this to the Arkham series, but if you think about it, I've been spoiled, you've been spoiled with the Arkham series combat. And if you haven't played the Arkham series games, then maybe, you know, you wouldn't know what I'm talking about. But if you played the Arkham series games, you know you've been spoiled, and it set that standard very high. I can't help myself but to compare the two. And the other thing is, there's no other DC games out there that's that popular to compare this game with. And those are the two games that are popular right now. The Arkham series is pretty popular, and this game seems to be pretty popular. And the thing is, the combat is boring, and the combat make these games, especially the Arkham games. The combat made those games, and you know, the combat here is just bad. And if I'm being honest, I know I'm gonna jump a little bit. From the side mission I was watching him play, it seemed pretty boring. I'm being honest, it seemed the combat just put icing on the cake. But that Harley Quinn mission looks pretty bad. And I know it's a side quest, I know, but my goodness, give me something good. Why do these developers insist on giving you bad first impressions? Give me a good first impression. The whole point, you make the cinematics look good, make this look good. But no, this was terrible. I didn't like the way I don't know if it was the guys I was watching, but everybody played the same. Roll, hit. And like I said, I know the Arkhams, you just press buttons, you know, but with the Arkham games, you could unlock some skills, and you had to have, you know, there were enemies in there that had knives. It started getting harder. They had guns. They had taser sticks to, you know, stun you, and you couldn't hit them. They had shield guys, you know, and they had guys jumping. You had to actually be skillful and actually watch the enemies. You couldn't just hit, roll out of everything's way. And from this game, it looks like you just roll out of the way. And, you know, like I said, combat is slow, super slow. I'll put it on the screen. It is super slow. And if I'm being honest, it reminds me of Saints Row's combat. I know that sounds crazy, but the rolling and, you know, barely doing nothing, the rolling and shooting, it just looks like Saints Row. And I'm not saying it is exactly Saints Row. It might be more fun than Saints Row when the game come out, but from what I'm judging, it has a little resemblance with Saints Row. And there's another thing that I noticed while watching this game that's dealing with the combat a little bit, that I was like, this might be another disappointment for me, at least. I don't know if anybody else remember in the Arkham series, you had combos. You could build up combos, and you could go. You remember when you could drop nukes? You could drop 30 combo. You could drop 40. You could go crazy if you could flow good, and you could counter the enemies in time and not get hit, and be able to, you know, dodge the shield guys and the knives. The guys with the knives, you get to, you know, if you had the skill, you could, you know, mess with them. But if you could flow, you could keep that combo going, and it's in the side. You know, that's what made the combat in the Arkham series so addictive, because it was in the side, and he was like, I have to get at least 20 combo, you know, 25, get that thing rolling. And once you get more combos, you could unlock more moves that, you know, allowed you to, you know, fly up in the air, and you know, do more combos. And I feel like that takes a little skill, because when I first played, I had to get used to that, and I had to get better at that. And you know, I know I haven't played an Arkham game in a minute, but this game doesn't seem like it has that. And I know what you're thinking, you know, don't compare it to the Arkham series. But again, like I said, I've been spoiled. Give me another game to compare it to. This game, I know it want to be its own, but it doesn't look too different from any other game, you know. Open world. The only thing I can say about that open world that look good is that Arkham City's looking nice. That's it. After that, I don't think, you know, the combat is what I'm mainly focused on, because that's what I really enjoy these type of games for. And lo and behold, this one does not have a good combat. And again, like I said, the Arkham series did it pretty well, and they hold up that standard's pretty high. In this game, it doesn't look like the combat's pretty good. And from the boss fight with Harley Quinn, and you know how people be asking, I want gameplay to be more immersive. That was not immersive at all. That game is that boss fight is not immersive. You do not, you know, Harley Quinn barely, you know, when the goons are there, Harley Quinn barely try to hit you unless you get close. But like, she doesn't make you scared that she, you know, you're not looking at her. But because you remember when you fought like somebody like Bane, if they threw goons down, you had to watch Bane, because Bane could easily run you over without you watching. So you actually had to keep an eye on them, and still have, you know, that little bit of skill in the game to be like, okay, I have to play this slow. And you can still flow with the Batman thing, because like I said, you could unlock more stuff. And I hope this game, again, they could bring some unlockables for this game that would potentially make the combat flow better. But from what I'm seeing, it's not looking too good, fellas. It's not looking good. It's looking pretty slow. And I do not want to sit there. I know for a fact I won't sit there and play that, because it looks boring. You know, that, especially that Harley Quinn sequence. There was a jail sequence too. That was just bad, man. I see the same enemies also, and I know the Arkham series are victims of that. But like I said, you gotta show me more. And the thing is, I know what you're saying. You know, the game haven't came out yet, but they did show us some characters, and it was a big lady and a lady with a shield, and they didn't look too good. For me, I don't know. It just looks boring. But again, like I said, it could change. So you guys let me know what y'all think about this. This is Gotham Knight. You guys let me know what y'all think. What are you seeing? Let me know, because from what I'm seeing, it looks boring and it looks bad. And if you like the video, go ahead and like the video. If you dislike the video, dislike the video, and let me know why in the comments. And if I miss anything, point it out in the comments. Also, if you got any thoughts, put it down in the comments. Let me know what you think about this Gotham Knight combat. And I'll see you.